What's up, basketball fans? We're diving into one of the most explosive NBA controversies of the season, and this one cuts deep. We're talking about the moment two of the league's brightest young stars went from teammates to enemies in a matter of hours. It all started with what seemed like an innocent interview question to Jayson Tatum about player responsibility and off-court behavior. But what happened next has the entire NBA community choosing sides and questioning whether we're witnessing the birth of a new superstar rivalry that could reshape the league's dynamics. Ja Morant, already under intense scrutiny for his recent controversies, felt personally attacked by Tatum's comments about young players forgetting their responsibility as role models. And his response? A direct threat that sent shockwaves through social media before being quickly deleted. If you've got something to say it to my face next time. Those 8 words have ignited a firestorm that goes beyond typical NBA drama. This isn't just about two players having different opinions. This is about leadership, accountability, and what happens when the pressure of being a role model becomes too much to handle. Before we break this down, I need to know where you stand. Do you think established stars like Tatum have the right to call out younger players publicly? Or should these conversations stay behind closed doors? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is splitting the basketball world right down the middle. What makes this situation even more intense is the timing. With All-Star selections coming up and Team USA preparations on the horizon, this feud could have real consequences for both players' careers. The stakes have never been higher, and neither player seems willing to back down. Buckle up, because we're about to dissect every moment of this incredible confrontation that has everyone talking. Tatum's controversial live comments. To understand how this whole situation exploded, we need to examine exactly what Jayson Tatum said during that fateful interview on ESPN's The Jump. First, what started as a routine discussion about the Celtics' playoff aspirations quickly turned into something much more significant. The conversation was flowing normally until host Malika Andrews shifted to a broader topic about player conduct and the responsibilities that come with NBA stardom. It seemed like a perfect opportunity for Tatum, widely regarded as one of the league's most professional young stars, to share his perspective on leadership. You know, Malika, I think sometimes young players in this league forget that millions of kids look up to us. Tatum began, his tone measured but carrying a subtle edge. Every decision we make, every post we share, every action we take, it all matters. We're not just basketball players, we're role models. Andrews nodded, clearly sensing there was more depth to his response. She pressed further, asking specifically about recent controversies involving social media and off-court incidents. That's when Tatum's comments took on a more pointed tone. Look, I'm not going to name names, but we've seen some troubling patterns lately. Tatum continued, his voice gaining conviction. Players making poor decisions, then acting surprised when there are consequences. The league has given us everything. Platform, resources, opportunities, and some guys are just throwing it away for temporary thrills. Hold up right there. While Tatum never mentioned Ja Morant by name, everyone watching knew exactly who he was talking about. Do you think this was fair criticism, or was Tatum out of line for making these comments publicly? Let me know what you think. But Tatum wasn't finished. Looking directly into the camera, he delivered what would become the most controversial part of his statement. The young guys coming into the league need to understand that this isn't just about individual success. When you mess up, it reflects on all of us. It affects how fans see us, how sponsors treat us, how the media covers us. The studio fell silent for a moment as the weight of his words sank in. Andrews tried to steer the conversation back to basketball, but the damage was done. Social media immediately began buzzing with speculation about who Tatum was referring to, and it didn't take long for the consensus to emerge. Within hours, clips of Tatum's comments were circulating with captions like, "Tatum calls out Ja Morant," and "Celtics star takes shots at Memphis guard." The basketball world was already choosing sides before Ja Morant even had a chance to respond. What nobody anticipated was just how explosive that response would be. Ja Morant's explosive social media response. The basketball world didn't have to wait long for Ja Morant's response, and when it came, it was everything you'd expect from the Memphis guard: direct, emotional, and absolutely explosive. Just 4 hours after Tatum's interview aired, Ja took to Instagram with a response that would send shockwaves through the NBA community. The Instagram story started with a simple black background and white text, but the message was anything but simple. "Funny how some people love to throw stones from glass houses," the first slide read. But that was just the warm-up. The second slide got more personal. "Been seeing a lot of role model talk lately. Interesting timing." Then came the third slide that really escalated things. "Some of y'all need to worry about your own games instead of commenting on mine." But it was the fourth and final slide that truly set the basketball world on fire. If you've got something to say it to my face next time. Don't hide behind interviews and subliminals. This is where things get really intense. Ja basically called out Tatum for being passive-aggressive instead of addressing him directly. Do you think Ja had the right to be this fired up, or was this an overreaction to valid criticism? I'm genuinely curious about your take. The posts were up for less than 2 hours before Ja deleted them, but in today's social media landscape, screenshots are forever. Within minutes, the images were circulating on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and every major sports platform. The hashtag #JaVStatum started trending almost immediately. What made the response even more shocking was the timing. Sources close to the Grizzlies organization revealed that Ja had been in team meetings all day, working on his comeback strategy and focusing on basketball. His social media team had explicitly advised him to stay off platforms, but the Tatum interview apparently pushed him over the edge. He felt like he was being singled out, without being given a chance to defend himself, one source told ESPN. Ja's been working hard to rebuild his image, and then to hear another player basically calling him irresponsible on national TV, it hit a nerve. The timing was particularly sensitive, because Ja had just returned from his suspension and was finally getting positive coverage for his on-court performance. Many around the league felt he was making genuine progress, which made Tatum's comments feel like a low blow. But perhaps the most telling part of Ja's response was what he didn't say. There were no denials of past mistakes, no attempts to justify his previous actions. Instead, it was pure emotion and a challenge for direct confrontation. The internet explosion and choosing sides. The moment Ja Morant's Instagram stories hit the internet, social media transformed into a battlefield. Within hours, #JaVStatum was trending worldwide, and NBA fans, players, and analysts were forced to pick a side in what had become basketball's most divisive controversy of the season. Team Tatum supporters rallied around the idea that established stars have not only the right, but the responsibility to call out problematic behavior. Finally, someone said what we're all thinking, wrote one viral tweet that garnered over 100,000 likes. Tatum is showing real leadership by addressing the elephant in the room. NBA veterans joined the chorus, supporting Tatum's approach. Chris Paul, known for his mentorship of young players, posted a subtle but clear message. Leadership isn't always popular, but it's always necessary. Veterans like Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler liked posts supporting Tatum, sending a clear signal about where the established guard stood. But Team Ja had equally passionate defenders. Ja's right to call out passive-aggressive behavior, read another viral post. If you have an issue with someone, be a man and address it directly instead of throwing subliminals on TV. Many younger fans and players gravitated toward this perspective, seeing Tatum's approach as cowardly. This divide really fascinates me because it seems to split along generational lines. Older fans and veterans tend to support Tatum's leadership approach, while younger fans back Ja's keep it real mentality. Which side feels more authentic to you? Are we seeing a clash between old school and new school NBA culture? The debate extended far beyond social media. Sports talk shows immediately reshuffled their programming to address the controversy. ESPN's First Take dedicated an entire segment to the feud, with Stephen A. Smith supporting Tatum's leadership while Shannon Sharpe defended Jay's right to respond to perceived attacks. Former players weighed in with mixed reactions. Charles Barkley called it much ado about nothing, but admitted Tatum probably should have kept his mouth shut. Magic Johnson tweeted about the importance of young players supporting each other instead of tearing each other down. The most interesting reactions came from current players who tried to stay neutral while clearly having opinions. LeBron James posted a cryptic message about communication being key, while Kevin Durant simply tweeted an eyes emoji, his signature way of stirring the pot without taking sides. International media picked up the story, with outlets in Europe and Asia framing it as evidence of internal dysfunction in American basketball culture. The controversy had officially transcended sports and become a cultural moment about communication, accountability, and generational differences in addressing conflict. Numbers don't lie. The combined social media engagement from this controversy exceeded that of most playoff games, proving that NBA drama can be just as captivating as the basketball itself. Behind-the-scenes reactions and league implications. While fans battled on social media, the real drama was unfolding behind closed doors. Sources throughout the NBA revealed that this wasn't just a public spat. It was causing serious ripple effects throughout the league, from front offices to locker rooms to the commissioner's office itself. The Memphis Grizzlies organization found themselves in crisis management mode. Team officials reportedly held an emergency meeting with Ja Morant's representatives, emphasizing the importance of staying focused on basketball rather than social media feuds. The franchise had invested too much in Ja's comeback story to let it derail over what many viewed as unnecessary drama. Meanwhile, the Boston Celtics were dealing with their own internal discussions. While most teammates publicly supported Tatum's right to speak his mind, sources suggested that some players felt he had unnecessarily painted a target on the team's back. Now every interview is going to be about this instead of basketball, one Celtic reportedly told team management. This brings up something really important about leadership in professional sports. Do you think Tatum's teammates have a right to be frustrated with him for creating this distraction, or should they support him for taking a stand on principle? This seems like a no-win situation for everyone involved. The league office was monitoring the situation closely, particularly concerned about how this feud might affect upcoming events. All-Star Weekend was just weeks away, and the possibility of Tatum and Morant being selected to the same team created an awkward scenario that nobody wanted to address publicly. More significantly, Team USA officials were reportedly having quiet conversations about how this controversy might impact Olympic preparations. Both players were considered locks for the national team, but the idea of managing their relationship while trying to build team chemistry added an unwanted complication. Player agents throughout the league began advising their clients to stay out of the controversy entirely. This isn't about basketball anymore, it's about personal brands and public perception, one prominent agent told ESPN. Smart players will let this blow over without picking sides. The business implications were also becoming clear. Shoe companies and major sponsors were closely monitoring public sentiment, knowing that controversies like this can affect endorsement values and marketing campaigns. Both Tatum and Morant had significant deals at stake, adding financial pressure to an already tense situation. What started as a simple interview question had evolved into a league-wide issue that nobody quite knew how to resolve. Long-term consequences and future implications. As the dust began to settle on this explosive controversy, the long-term implications for both players and the NBA as a whole started to become clear. This wasn't just a momentary social media spat. It was a defining moment that could reshape relationships and career trajectories for years to come. For Jayson Tatum, the controversy positioned him as a vocal leader willing to address difficult topics, but it also made him a lightning rod for criticism. Some praised his willingness to speak truth to power, while others questioned whether he had the right to judge his peers publicly. The incident would likely follow him throughout his career, becoming part of his leadership narrative. Ja Morant faced a different set of consequences. His emotional response, while authentic, reinforced perceptions about his volatility and decision-making. For someone trying to rebuild his image, the confrontational approach set back months of positive progress. Team officials and league executives would undoubtedly factor this incident into future decisions about his role and responsibilities. Looking ahead, do you think this controversy will motivate both players to prove their points on the court, or will it create lasting animosity that could affect their careers? And more broadly, how should young NBA stars handle criticism from their peers? This could really change how players interact going forward. The incident also highlighted broader tensions within the NBA about accountability, leadership, and the role of veteran players in guiding younger stars. It sparked conversations about whether public criticism is an effective mentorship tool, or whether these discussions should remain private. For the league, this controversy represented both a challenge and an opportunity. While the drama generated significant engagement and discussion, it also highlighted potential divisions within the player community that could affect team chemistry and league unity. Future All-Star games, Team USA selections, and even potential trades could be influenced by this rift. Front offices would need to consider not just talent and fit, but also personality dynamics when making decisions involving either player. Perhaps most significantly, this incident established a precedent for how NBA stars communicate with each other through media. The days of subtle subtweets and indirect comments might be over, replaced by more direct confrontations that play out in real time for millions of fans to witness and judge. And there you have it, one of the most fascinating NBA controversies in recent memory. What started as a routine interview question spiraled into a full-blown feud that exposed deeper tensions about leadership, accountability, and communication in professional basketball. Jayson Tatum's decision to speak publicly about player responsibility opened a can of worms that nobody saw coming. His comments, while arguably well-intentioned, created a situation where he became both praised as a leader and criticized as judgmental. The line between mentorship and public shaming proved to be thinner than anyone realized. Ja Morant's explosive response showed us the raw emotion and authenticity that makes him such a compelling figure. but it also demonstrated the challenges young stars face when trying to balance personal expression with public expectations. His willingness to confront the situation head-on resonated with fans who value directness over diplomacy. This controversy revealed something important about modern NBA culture. The days of players staying silent about their peers are over. Social media has created an environment where every comment, every perceived slight, and every response can become a global conversation within hours. The bigger question moving forward is whether this incident will inspire more direct communication between players or create lasting divisions that affect team chemistry and league dynamics. Both approaches have merit, but the execution will determine whether future conflicts bring players together or drive them apart. What's your final takeaway from this whole situation? Do you think Tatum was right to speak up about player responsibility, or should he have addressed his concerns privately? Was Jay's response justified, or did he overreact to valid criticism? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if this breakdown helped you understand all the layers of this controversy, and subscribe for more deep dives into the NBA stories that go beyond the box score. The game is played on the court, but these days the real drama happens everywhere else.